there is, when I tell you the presence of just evil, the presence of just saying, do it. I've never told anybody that. Like the fact that I literally heard the voice kind of saying, do it, go for it, do it now. And man, I remember grabbing the gun and I'm literally just playing with it on my head. And I am everything negative that has happened to me currently from like when I was born to 15 was just popping into my head. The words that they were saying, the loneliness, the heartache, the bullying, the teachers telling me I'm not going to pass high school, everything just coming is literally, think of just like, when you're stacking bricks for a house, like I'm the foundation and they're just stacking. And I said, we're doing this. I literally grabbed the gun to my head and I have the finger on the trigger and I pull it.
Welcome back to season 2 of the Dare You to Love podcast. I'm your host, Victoria Holloway, and you are watching Beauty from Ashes, where I have guests on to share how God brought them out of a terrible experience and turned it into something beautiful. Today's guest is my friend Mancini Morales, and he's going to be sharing how God brought him out of one of the darkest moments of his life. So I hope you guys enjoy. So Mancini, just tell me kind of how you grew up, like a little bit about your childhood and how you met the Lord and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I was born in Gainesville, Georgia, 1996, August 9th. Good year, the Olympics was that year. And, so my mom and dad were together when they had me and they split ways. It was definitely a difficult time for me as a kid because it was like always bouncing back and forth. And then, but it was hard to bounce back, always that kind of, just always something new, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
With my mom for a weekend, staying with my dad for a weekend. And I did that for a really, really long time. Until I started driving. I didn't start driving until I was 17. So since I was like 3, I've been doing that every other weekend. It's like my mom or my dad, or sometimes I would choose my mom more than my dad and stuff like that. So I grew up like that. Then my mom remarried, met another guy. Then my brother kind of came into the picture. So growing up, I really didn't see my mom a lot. It was mostly my sister that kind of raised me and my brother. My mom had like 3 jobs and was just working, just grinding so much because she wanted the best for us.
Yeah.
She didn't have the best when it comes to her life, but she wanted to give us more than she had. So she was working all the time. My sister was taking care of us like crazy and making sure we were all good, taking care of us, feeding us. And to be honest with you, like I'm thankful for my sister. Like me and her get along so well right now. We're probably the closest we've ever been, me and my sister and my brother, just because of, the life we had to grow up with each other. So, I started get into elementary school. I had a problem with school to the point where even I had to take like an academic test to see where I was in like education wise, So I took it in, I think it was 2nd grade. And the scores come back so bad, honestly, it came back so bad to where the teacher said I wasn't going to graduate high school at all.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like in 2nd, 3rd grade, and they're telling me I'm not going to graduate high school.
Yeah.
Kids that are supposed to believe in you, they're supposed to give you that kind of like, hey, you can do this. Nah, they said no. You're not going to graduate. And I was like, dang, like I'm great, that's so I feel like throughout everything, that's kind of like where it started.
Yeah.
With this whole journey that we're going to go into in this episode. So definitely that was very upsetting for me, just because it was like, I was already getting told my future.
Yeah.
Who are they to say something? So do that. I'm still in school, everything, and then the bullying gets worse. So I have a lazy eye. Oh, here it's this one. I think it's my right, your left, pretty sure. But during school, it's funny now, but it wasn't funny during the day. I had to wear an eye patch, so they call me Patchy. You can laugh.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was trying to hold it back.
Good. You can laugh, and you can laugh at everything because I'm to find so much joy in it. Like now, it's not pain anymore. It's joy, because we'll get on to that in a bit. So They call me Patchy, and man, they let me have it. Oh my gosh, they let me have it. So I was told I wasn't going to graduate. I was called Patchy in elementary school. And then I became the class clown just to get attention.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't getting attention from my mom. I wasn't getting attention from really anybody. My sister was in high school. She was doing her thing. We were the annoying brothers that she had to take care of, stuff like that. So I was just wanting attention. Even today, even these days, I'd be wanting attention sometimes. So I'd be acting like a fool,
I know.
But yeah, no. So I started getting called Patchy, and then that's all through maybe like 4th or 5th grade. Once I get into 5th grade, an accident happens in elementary school. I actually got injured really bad in the cafeteria to where I had to get stitches on my hand. There's like a scar on my hand.
Oh, wow.
So that my mom took me and my brother out of public school. She took us out, started going to private school. And private school was, to be honest with you, my mom was going to church and she was taking us to church. I kind of just did it just because it made her happy, and because I don't see my mom that much. I want to see my mom happy. So
yeah.
We went to free chapel with her. We started going to free chapel 2005-ish. So we transferred to a private school, and I'm in 5th grade now. I'm in 5th grade private school, and we have to take another academic test. Man, I failed so bad they took me back 2 grades. So now I'm supposed to be a 5th grader. I'm a 3rd grader, and I am just low key. And I haven't told anybody this before, but I just beat myself up.
Yeah.
I have teacher second or 3rd grade telling me I'm not going to pass high school. I'm called Patchy. I was in 5th grade, but now I'm in 3rd grade, and I am so embarrassed. Embarrassment just overtakes me. And I was like, my God, this is what is happening. Am I that dumb? So that started coming into kind of effect. Middle school comes. I have to go back to 3rd grade. So never really went to middle school. I was supposed to, but never went. Finished 3rd grade again with being able to skip 4th grade going into 5th grade. So I was off track by 1 year. So I was supposed to be in 6th grade. I was 5th grade. And that was even hard for me. I had to get tutoring. I had to get all this stuff. I was lazy. We kind of just quit on it. We just said, it's not going to work. Whatever. Yeah. So I started doing that. Middle school, I was still in private school, but we went to a different school because we just kind of wanted something new. We went to a new school, and I honestly felt like that middle school age was definitely a critical year for me, because it was definitely just a molding year where everything kind of came into place. So once I got into middle school, private school, it was tough, So that's when I was still hanging out with the friends from public school. And at the age of 14, I started drinking. I started smoking. Was smoking weed and just partying. And my mom doesn't know that, but she does now because of what's going to happen later on in the future. And I started doing that. I did it to fit in, but I was still getting bullied. It it was tough. 13 or 14, you start trying to put identity in who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And then once again, with my dad, we were going off and on. Like I was every other week. Sometimes I wasn't even going to him because I didn't want to. And we were just, me and him kind of just didn't see eye to eye and a lot of stuff. So we do that, and we were just butting heads. So life right now is really hard. So we're doing all this, 14 it was an okay year. My mom remarries to another guy, and they've been together for 15 years, and it just ended recently, which is pretty good for the family, actually. So get to 15, 16. This is where life starts getting kind of crazy. This is where it starts taking a turn. So once I get to 15, 16, I'm getting bullied. I make even more than anything, but it's more joking bullying. But for me,
you didn't find it funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't fit in. I didn't, all this stuff. I was still being that goofball just to get attention from people. But they're over here making fun of me. Low key, it's hurting inside. But I'm saying, oh, they're my friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I was like, oh, they're giving me attention. I like that. So I make a Facebook. I made it behind my mom's back. And so, private school, getting bullied. I was bullied in elementary school, bullied in middle school. Make a Facebook account. And I started getting friend requests popping up. And I was like, oh, this is dope. People want to be my friend. That is awesome. This is amazing. I'm so, so excited. And it was cool. It was something that, that attention thing that I love, So do that, and all of a sudden I start posting pictures of me, those little middle school pictures that people have. Just so gross.
In the mirror. Yeah.
It's in the air. I wouldn't make duck lips because that's not me. But I would do some cool pictures that I thought, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And man, I was getting bullied on that. I was getting cyberbullied. The people I didn't even know who they were. I was literally just accepting every friend request because I wanted that many friends. And so I was in a deep, deep place. I was in a sad place. I was in a place of hurt so now I'm getting bullied in school. I'm getting bullied in the internet, and it's live. People can see me getting bullied, and I kept deleting these comments because my mom added me and I accepted her, so I didn't want her to see any of this.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my dad, we weren't always getting along. We weren't always seeing eye to eye and everything, and so he wasn't there. To be honest with you, he wasn't there for me, and I really didn't have a father figure to really count on. I didn't have a father figure to tell. I didn't have anybody in my life to tell. My mom was working. My sister didn't really care, but she cares now. So It's one of those things where I didn't have anybody. And to be honest, we kept going to free chapel, and I was just mad at God. I was annoyed with God. I was like, hey, in Kid Pack, they're teaching me that you care, but where are you?
Mm-hmm.
Why stopping? Why is this going on? What are you doing that Pastor Tracy, when he was the Kid Pack pastor, what are you doing behind the scenes? Because I don't see anything.
Mm-hmm.
And there was nothing. No answer, no nothing, no audible voice going through me, none of that. It was just me. It was lonely. And I took that loneliness and I shoved it deep down inside. And I took it, I grabbed it, and I said, no, I'm going to push this as far down as possible. And started dating this girl. And this girl was giving me the attention I wanted. The needy side of me, was coming out, and she was helping me. Dated for about a few months. It was almost a year, but broke up and everything, and that hurt me to bits. Found out she was cheating on me and everything. It was crazy. It was wild. And 15, 16-year-olds, they're dramatic. So now I'm heartbroken. Mm-hmm. I'm getting bullied online that no one knows about. my family life isn't that great, to be honest with you. I had a stepdad that was like physically abusing me and my brother because we were doing poorly in school. And then I was getting bullied at school. So it was a nonstop life was just going.
Yeah.
It was giving me so much weight. And there was one night when I was 15, 16 years old. I want to say more 15 than anything. I had it. I was looking at my Facebook account and I had it. I was done. I was done with everything that life was giving me. And I remember saying this, and I was like, God, this is unfair. You're not just. You're not love. You're not any of the things that people are preaching about. And I hate you. I remember that. I remember saying that clear as day. And I said, I'm done. I said, I'm sick of this. I'm not dealing with this anymore. I'm tired of the pain. I'm tired of the loneliness. I'm tired of the hurt. I'm tired of people pushing me around. I'm sick of it. I don't want to do this anymore. I remember saying this, looking in the mirror, and I said, I want to die. Man, and remember that loneliness that I told you about, that pushing me down? That came up, and I don't remember the feeling, because it's like I just feel like I blacked out. Yeah. I feel like something overcame over me, and there was just darkness feeling over me. There was no joy in me. There was no happiness. There was nothing positive in my life that was happening, and it was hard. Yeah. It was such a dark place. It was a scary place. It was a lonely place because we talk about this God who's omnipotent and always there for you, omnipotent, omnipresent, like all this stuff, all knowing, all that. But when you're in that state, when you're in this state of not feeling Him and you're by yourself, it's real. Mm-hmm. It is so real, and there's so many people dealing with it now. So to continue with the story, the way our house works is there's an upstairs, and there's a bottom stairs. So I'm in my upstairs. There's nobody in the house. My brother's not even gone because it was a weekend that my brother was with his dad, and I was literally at home by myself, 15, 16 years old. Mm-hmm. And I just remember just saying, I'm done. I want to die. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of what life is giving me. And I was so done. I was tired of it. I go downstairs to my parents' room, to my mom's room, and there's a safe to where my stepdad at the time had just a safe of guns because he was a hunter. He liked to hunt. And I remember going to that safe, putting in the pin because I saw him put the pin in one day, and I memorized it. I don't know why, just memorized it just in case. I thought somebody was going to rob me one day. I just gotta be safe. Mm-hmm. So I remember putting in the pin, and I grabbed the pistol, and I closed. I left it open. I don't know why I left it open, but I left it open. I turned off the lights, and I'm in their bedroom in a corner, just looking at this gun, waving this gun around. And when I tell you the presence of just evil, the presence of just saying, do it. I've never told anybody that. Like the fact that I literally heard the voice kind of saying, do it, go for it, mm-hmm. Do it now. And man, I remember grabbing the gun, and I'm literally just playing with it on my head. And I am everything negative that has happened to me currently from like when I was born to 15 was just popping into my head. The words that they were saying, the loneliness, the heartache, the bullying, the teachers telling me I'm not going to pass high school, everything just coming is literally. Think of just like, when you're stacking bricks for a house, like I'm the foundation and they're just stacking. And I said, we're doing this. I literally grabbed the gun to my head and I have the finger on the trigger and I pull it. And the pistol was on safety. I drove the pistol across the room, and I said, "Oh my God!" I started freaking out. I'm just like, I'm saying some words. I don't know if I can say in your podcast, but I'm saying that I'm just freaking out. I start like heavy breathing, kind of a what's that called?
Like a panic attack.
Yeah, like a panic attack, and just like heavy breathing.
Hyperventilating.
Yeah. That's the word. You got it. And I was hyperventilating, and I'm like in shock that my life could have been done.
Yeah.
And man, I start just crying. I remember I just crying on my knees. I'm just like, oh my God. I'm like repeating that. I said, what just happened? Like I could have just lost it all. All of a sudden, I remember I was crying on my knees, and I got back up like this. My face just solid, no emotion, like tears just dried up. And everything else, boom, right again, just started happening again. The weight of loneliness, the weight of hurt, the weight of pain, the weight that I didn't even have a father figure, the weight that I couldn't trust a man in my life to tell anybody this, or even my mom. If I told my mom that at that time, I don't even know what would happen. Couldn't tell my sister, because my sister didn't even live with us anymore. She was out doing her own thing, and came back, everything, the whole weight, just evil all over me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even remember this. I don't remember this at all, because it was just a dark time where the gun came back in my hand. And remember, I threw it across the room, and for all of a sudden, I remember I was down again, and I had the gun in my hand, and I don't even recall like saying, "Oh my God, what the heck? This is back in my hand." It was just there again, and I said, "No, this is it." I said, "I want to die tonight. I'm sick of it." So I take the safety off this time, and I'm just playing with it. I'm literally just tapping it on my head, and my ears hearing the ding, 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 just going against my head. And I'm like, I just remember I said, "I'm going to do this." I said, if I can't graduate high school, or if I can't stop the bullying, or if I can't stop the loneliness, or if I can't start the heartache, I'm going to do this. And I put the gun in my head, take the safety off. My hand is literally on the trigger, and I'm doing the motion of like about to pull it. All of a sudden, I hear the garage door open. And when the garage door open, that means mom's home or stepdad's home, and you got to get out of the room, ASAP. I hear the garage, and I said, "Oh my God." I said, "Bro, I need to put this up." I put it up, put it on safety, put it back in the safe, close the door, lock it, like I never touched the room or anything. Run up upstairs, and I remember just throwing myself on my bed. And what's crazy, I think I told you this, I felt like a failure for not doing it.
Yeah.
And man, I felt like a failure, and I was like, I can't do anything right. Never in my mind did I think, "Oh, God saved me." No, it was never that.
Yeah.
Because I failed again. And man, that weight happened again. That night was one of the roughest nights of my life at 15. Now, honestly, I didn't sleep. It was just that I was literally just walking around my room just saying, I failed. I can't believe I didn't do it. People were right. I am a failure, and all this stuff. 15, 16, 17, and a little bit of 18. I start literally just not giving a frick about God, not giving a frick about. I still went to church because of my mom, but I would either go to sleep or I just wouldn't care. Pastor Frank would be preaching a fire message at the time, and I would just not be caring. I'd be going to sleep, or on my phone playing games, but I would still go to church for my mom.
Yeah.
And my mom's everything to me. I'm a mama's boy. Everyone can hear it. I'm a mama's boy. And I remember, 15, 16, 17, nothing of God. I hated God. I was mad at God. I was so just mad. My dad and me are still not getting along. Me and my stepdad is still doing every negative thing we could think of and just bringing us down, saying we're complete trash, all this stuff, yada, yada, yada. All this stuff. Crazy. So, and the bullying kind of stops, still kind of goes on. I played sports, so then that kind of like raised my pool a little bit, and I was good at it. Played basketball, played soccer, played football, and I was chilling. Like I was doing good. Just going to the parties, going to hangouts, still smoking, still drinking. I'm sorry, Mom. And I was just doing all this. And I remember I was with my friend, and we were smoking at the time. And his mom walks in. His mom was cool with it. I don't know why, but she was cool with it. I'm not going to say her name either because but we were smoking, and all of a sudden she comes up to me and my friend, knocks on the door, very polite, crazy, and says, "Hey, I got you tickets for Forward 2015. And I said, I'm not going. You're going. I'm not. And he was like, oh, no, you're going. And I said, no, the freak, I'm not. You got me messed up if you think I'm going. And he goes, if you don't go, I'm not going to give you free weed anymore. And I said, oh. I'm going. So I'm not going to, but we're not friends anymore. So, but hopefully, hey, I love you, dude. If you see this, love you, dude.
It's just funny how, like, God used marijuana to get you to go to Forward Conference.
Right?
What can he do?
Yeah, he can use anything now. Don't get it twisted. He used the donkey. But then he used a plant. So, do that 2015. So, the first night, I was stoned out of my mind. How the cops didn't catch us, how we got past security, I have no idea. And actually, it was funny. I was with a group that year, but they didn't know I was high. Sorry, buddy. I was high at Forward Conference. I was with them. And they never knew. So, Forward Conference. High out of my mind. I am the worst student at Forward Conference. How did we not get in trouble? No idea. How did we not get kicked out? No idea. But we were there. So this is what happened. People were worshiping. I don't remember anything. I remember one part, but that's coming up. I remember this, though. I remember people were worshiping, and I would grab their hands and pull them down. People were literally worshiping, and I would grab their arms and put them down. Or I would be yanking on their shirt. Yeah. Or I'd going up to them and be like, you look so dumb. Like, oh my gosh, you're worshiping to a God. Like, that. Do you like, I even told him, like, do you know how dumb that sounds? Like, you're worshiping to God. It's so dumb. So the first night, stoned out of me. The morning, second day, stoned out of my mind. Second night, stoned out of my mind. Third morning, I wasn't that stoned, but I was still hot. And it's the last night. We ran out of weed. And we're like, you know what? We're just going to give it a shot. We're just going to let it. Because remember, back in the day, Forward used to go at night. And it was really long. And then we had service at night in the morning. So, 2015, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Reggie Dabbs preached that session. He preached Long Live the King in 2015. And that message literally changed my life. It wasn't the message, but it was the altar moment that really changed my message. That really changed my life. I'm sorry. I remember me and my friend were sitting in the middle section. And I don't remember the tribe, so don't try to test me on that. I do not remember. But I remember we were sitting in the middle section, in the middle of the rows of the middle section. And I'm listening to the sermon, and I'm like, oh, again, not bad. Chill, cool, Gucci. But then Pastor Reggie Dabbs, he says that we're going to do something different. And I said, okay, cool. And I looked at my friend and I said, we're going to participate in this. Let's just try it, you know? We did. We've done all we had to do for the whole time, let's try this last session. Let's just give it a go. And he does this thing where he says something, and if that has happened to you, you need to stand up. So we said, all right, cool. So he says, if your parents have ever been, if you've ever faced divorce, stand up. I almost stood up 3 times because my mom's that's happened for her in her life. So I stood up. I said, 1 for 1, pretty good. I ain't gonna cap. I said, I give it to you. He said, all right, sit back down. He was like, if you've been bullied or dealt with like depression, stand up. I said, all right, 2 for 2. I said, yeah, that's pretty good. I ain't gonna lie. 2 for 2 is pretty good. He goes, if you've been bullied, stand up. I said, dang, 4 for 4. I was like 3 for 3. Dang, like he's awesome. I said, is God's real? Maybe, I don't know. Like, we'll see. So, and this is where it got me, because I've never talked about this to anybody. And he said, if you dealt with suicidal thoughts, stand up. And man, I was not going to stand up. I was not. But in my head, I said, wow, 4 for 4. Like the Wendy's value meal, 4 for 4. Mm-hmm. Shout out. Sponsor Victoria here. But in all seriousness, I said, wow, 4 for 4. And I stood up. And man, once I stood up, I cannot explain it to you guys. Once I stood up, I felt literally this blanket of warmth that I've never experienced before. It was literally just, I was warm. I felt loved. I felt, you know what it was? I felt like a son. And I've never felt that before. I had my dad, but that's a whole nother story. I had my stepdad, but he wasn't the actual father. I've had other male figures. It just turned out not the best. I didn't have a male role model. I had 1 or 2, but even then, I still didn't even talk to them.
Right.
And I remember this one pastor, forgot his name, sorry, but he was somebody that I messed with during the forward, and he comes up to me, hugs me, gives me this big hug, and just says, hey, I love you. And he goes, that's not from me, that's from God. Man, I broke down. Oh my gosh. My why is that exact same moment that I want people to experience now.
Yeah.
Because man, I can't even put into words what that felt like. I can't elaborate or describe the feeling that I felt that time. It was a feeling that I just felt so secured in myself, secure in what I was going to face in my life. It was just security that I've just never felt before in my life. Because a father, and I just had an identity too. Because a father's supposed to bring that security and the identity. And man, when he did that, I literally just felt the love of God and the identity of God that moment. And I remember stood up, and Reggie Dabbs, I believe, called me out, and I was wearing a white shirt. I forgot what shirt. I think it was just a plain white shirt. And he called me out and he said, hey, I love you. Man, so I just had 2 back-to-back I love yous. And I mean, you don't get those a lot. When you're Hispanic, you really don't show your feelings like that. Except for me, I've been showing them all the time. But you really don't be sharing feelings like that. Yeah. So to have somebody from a stage literally chose somebody that's 13,000 deep, and you choose one out of 13,000 being me, that blew me away. Because it showed me one thing. It showed me that God loves me in private, but he loves me in public as well. Mm-hmm. And man, that changed my life. That moment exactly changed my life forever. And that's something that I really really just want everybody to experience, because it's a moment that you'll never forget for the rest of your life. So Forward conference ends. I'm on like a spiritual high. I am chilling. I look at my friend and I say, "Yo, what are we doing now? Let's go. What are we doing?" My friend got saved. We like hug each other. We're like, we love Jesus. So you know what we do to celebrate? We get high. And we say, "Hey, we Christians, we gonna get high. We gonna be with Jesus because we that high." You know, it was horrible to say that. We did it. So what I do, it's like my friend's asleep. It is like 11:30 at night. Literally the same day of Forward Conference, and I emailed Pastor Zach Henson. Shout out to Pastor Zach. I actually talked to him recently. You know, you got my love. And he helps me navigate what to do next. And I go do like a few months of internship with Free Chapel with him, underneath him and Pastor Shane. Pastor Shane.
Shout out Pastor Shane.
He's a goat, real one. Pastor Blake too. Shout out Pastor Blake.
Love you.
And they help me out. I go move to California, do 2 years of internship there, come back to Georgia, do 3 years of internships there. And then I recently just moved to Raleigh, North Carolina, to help a church called Echo Next Gen. And I'm so excited for what God has. But Victoria, that is all I have for you.
That's awesome. You kind of covered everything. Like I had questions right now just in case, but you like covered it all. A couple of things I just want to say. Like as we're talking, you're making me remember Forward 2015. And it's so crazy how many times like I've known you for like 5 years or 4 years or something like that. And it's crazy how you don't really know your friends until you like sit down and have like genuine conversation like this with them. And I hate that it's taken this long in a podcast for me to like really get to know you like this. But I'm like sitting here thinking about 2015 and how much similarities we have with our stories. You know, not necessarily exactly the same, but I remember 2015 being like a pretty broken year for me too. And I think it just goes to show like what teenagers really go through nowadays, and like your heart with youth ministry, my heart with youth ministry, and like kind of our background is why we care about it so much, you know?
Yeah. Go ahead. One of the things where, you know, and I've really been like watching this like low key on the side, just how, you know, the enemy, it just has the same moves every single time. But I have to give it to him. We fall for it. Like we fall for it every single time. And the thing is, he makes it feel like we're so alone. I remember 2015 standing up and seeing so many, exactly like just a bunch of people going through what I was going. There was people that were on the same section that I was in, and they stood up for all four of those. And I was like, I thought I was doing this alone. I was terrified. I was scared. Like I didn't know. I thought I was the only one going through this, but I really turned to my left, I turned to my right, I looked down, and I looked back up, and there were so many people going through the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I was blown away because, you know, I'm over here telling myself I'm the only one going through this when, one, I'm not, and two, you know, you can talk to people about it. Like, you have to talk to people. I remember that whole situation with like the suicide attempt that I tried. I didn't tell my mom until I was 21, I think, 20 or 21, around there. And I had to tell her because I was going on the Dr. Oz show. So it was like, it was either she's going to find out on Dr. Oz or she's going to find out before. So it was one of those things where I didn't tell her. And that was, I would say, the biggest thing. If you're going through something, tell somebody. Yeah. Tell somebody. If you don't trust anybody, come to me. I don't know. Victoria can give you my Instagram or something, like come to me. Like I'm a Volt when it comes to secrets. Like you can tell me anything and it's not going to go anywhere. But talk to somebody. Definitely talk to somebody for sure.
Yeah. I remember, Mancini's been in a movie and I remember going to watch it, when it came out. And I've actually wanted to tell you this ever since I saw it. It's just like, it never got brought back up between us. So I never really said anything, but I just want to say, I am so glad that you failed that night, because if you had succeeded, then I would have never have met you and you wouldn't have made the impact that you've made on so many people's lives. And I've been reading one of Reggie Dabbs's books, and that recent, I don't know if it's new or not, but I've been reading it. And I woke up this morning thinking about today and the interview and everything, and with reading his book and everything. And I want to like put this out there, manifest it, prophesy, whatever you say. I think, Mancini, that you are going to be the next Reggie Dabbs of the world, because you have such an incredible, heart-touching story. 4 for 4, and all those people stood up around you. Just imagine how many kids you're going to touch because of what you went through, just like someone like Reggie Dabbs. And we talk about Reggie like he's like top tier dog, you know? And he is, yeah. But look at all the crap he went through. You know what I'm saying? And so like, I woke up this morning, like thinking like Mancini's going to be the next Reggie Dabbs. Like, I just believe that with my like whole fiber, that when we did like our pre-interview and you said, I don't really share it that often. I think you should. I think you should talk about this all the time, because look at what God did in your life. You know, look at how like joyful and how much of an impact you've made on so many kids' lives in your 25 years of life. You know what I mean? And like this short span of time that you've like really gone after God, all of the people that you've been able to help in that short span. I see it going so much further for you than just what you think in your like little, you know, small church. I just see it going like so much further than that.
And I take what you said and I say thank you so much. No, it's something, to be honest with you, like I said, I don't share it a lot. I should, but I don't. I mean, because at the end of the day, like it's one thing to live it, it's another thing to share it, but it's also, you know, because I don't know. It's just. You're right. I do need to share it more, and I do need to talk about it more, because there's people going through the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Even today. So little side note. I actually live with a person that's a nurse, and she was telling me that she had like about 13 suicides the other day, and my heart broke. I came upstairs to my room and I started crying, just because it was like, you know, sometimes you got to put the weight on yourself, and it's like, if you've gone through something and you can talk about it and you're like, oh, I can help that person, you know? So, but no, you're definitely right. I do need to.
I know it's hard, because what I was going to say earlier about my 2015 was, so I'm the middle child, and not a lot of people know that because it just doesn't get brought up a lot. But I do have an older sister and a younger sister, and my older sister is sort of like the prodigal child. And so when I was 17 is when she sort of like left town and kind of like dissed our family and all that kind of stuff. And so there was one thing, I literally would not go to church all year long, but my mom would get us tickets for Forward every year. So from like 5th grade up until like even volunteering and working at it, like I was at Forward every single year. And so 2015 comes, I'm stoked. It was like always something to look forward to. It was so exciting and fun and like all this stuff. And me and my sister always went. And in 2015, she's like, I don't want to go anymore. Like, I don't believe in God anymore. Like, I don't want to do that. And so, and I was at the place where nobody really knew that I like believed in God either, because I didn't have friends at church. I didn't go to church, you know? So, and I was like terrified of doing anything by myself at 17. And so I actually ended up, I know this isn't like a, wow, Victoria, you're so amazing, but I ended up giving my tickets away. And I was like, I still want to go, because I was like so depressed that I couldn't go. So I was like, I still want to go. And so I ended up volunteering. I was a greeter at one of the doors going into the arena the whole weekend. And I remember I got paired up with these two girls, and they were like, you look really young. Like, why aren't you in the conference? And I was able to like tell them what was going on in my life. And they actually let me sit in Reggie's session. They were like, why don't you just go sit in there? Like, we got this, you know, you can go sit down. And so I like sat in the back. I could probably, if we were in the arena, I could like take you to the door. I don't remember like the door number, but I like remember where.
I can take you exactly where I sat.
Yeah. 100%. So it's like, it's just crazy. It's like crazy that like we were in the same room experiencing like the same thing for different scenarios and stuff like that. But how the Holy Spirit can just speak to individually different in a big, massive room like that. He speaks to each of us, you know, and it's hard for me to talk about like my sister and what that's put me through, even as an adult now. Like, she's still not connected to our family. So like there's a lot of stuff that I've had to do and learn and be the older sister and for my little siblings and like stuff like that. So I still don't like talking about it either. So I totally get, you know, that's like one of the darkest things in my life. So I totally get you kind of being like guarded by it. But at the end of the day, like how many other kids out there are experiencing the same thing as me, you know?
100%. And I want to say I understand kind of a little bit of that feeling, because my sister kind of she started to expose you. My sister, I'm not going to say her name, but she got pregnant at 17 and just literally left our house with just a note saying, hey, I'm moving out. And it was like 12 o'clock. I remember this clear as day. I heard my mom started crying. And I ran out of my bed and I was like, what happened? What happened? And she was like, your sister left. And man, I remember that. And I didn't see her for a few months. I mean, think about it. She raised me, basically. My mom and my sister raised me. And to not have my sister, I was like, what the heck? So I definitely feel for you and I understand that. So, I mean, I'm praying for you and your family for sure, but I know how hard it is to share something because one, it was just so real. You know what I'm saying? Like even to this point, there's times where I kind of share it, not to the depth of this, but I feel like you saying that is kind of just like, all right, kind of God saying, all right, you do got to share it. You do have to open up about this because he healed me from it. You know, I feel like when people see me, they see this goofball, they see this happy dude that everything's just been going good for his life. No one would ever suspect this. No one would ever suspect that I was depressed, that I was sad, that I was getting bullied, you know, from the lazy eye, call me Patchy in elementary school. Yeah. Clever kid, by the way. So it's one of those things where, you know, no one would suspect it, but because God healed all of me, like it was a complete 180. And I thank God for it, to be honest with you, because, and, you know, this is a little cheesy, but like, to God be the glory for everything, for real, because you know, without him, I wouldn't be able to touch the kids that I've touched. I wouldn't be able to be, you know, who I am without him. So I appreciate you saying that, but I also appreciate you being transparent with me about that, because I do know how hard it is. You know, you want to see your family members together. You want to see your family members united. And I mean, even I'm over here in Raleigh and I want to be with my family all the time. So I believe God's good and God knows what he's doing to your sister, and it's going to be good. I'm excited to see what happens in your life.
Thank you. Thank you. Just my last question. If you could give any advice or encourage anybody that might be going through something similar to you, whether it be growing up without a dad, getting bullied, having suicidal thoughts, anything like that, what would you say to like really encourage them to get past this point in their life?
Yeah. So probably two things, to be honest, maybe three. For the father thing, for the like living without a dad, find somebody. Like not find somebody. It sounds weird, but definitely like if you play sports, talk to your coach. It just find somebody that you can look up to. Because at the end of the day, if you're a guy or a female, you want to have a role model to look up to be like. Humans are going to fail you. They're going to do all that stuff. But the best example that you have is Jesus. When I got saved and everything, I didn't look for pastors to be my role model. I didn't look for my stepdad at the time to be my role model. I didn't look for any role models after I got saved. I read the Bible and I read Jesus and I read how he remodeled. So it's like how he was. So there was one time I bought a Bible and I lost it. Actually, I'm kind of sad about it. But I would highlight everything that Jesus said, everything that Jesus did, every motion that he did, everything. And there's also the red, the red highlighters that they already have already. But there's things that Jesus motions, his attitudes towards him, like when he flips tables. I highlighted everything that Jesus did in the Bible through the whole gospel, because I wanted to understand, one, what would Jesus do? JD, what would Jesus do? But also how he reacts, how he loves, how he understands people, how he cares for people. And that's what I did personally. And that's what helped me, to be honest. Like, that's why I'm able to have so much grace to people. I'm able to be so patient with people. I'm able to love people whenever they've done wrong to me. Like, I'm still working on that one. But, the best example is Jesus, because humans are going to fail you. Man is going to fail you. That's what we're known for. We're known for failing. Glad I failed, you know what I'm saying? But definitely Jesus all the way. Look at Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, that Bible verse. Can I quote it? No, because I don't know the reference. But definitely, if you don't have a role model in your life, look at Jesus, because he's obviously the best role model we're ever going to have.
Yeah.
And man, if you're dealing with suicidal thoughts or dealing with the attempt of suicide, I do want to say I'm here for you as a person. And I don't know exactly what you're going through, because not every suicide attempt is the same. And I'm not going to make it seem like it is, because it's not. Everyone's different when it comes to why they're doing what they're doing. And I do want to say, with everything in me, reach out to me, reach out to Victoria, reach out to somebody you trust, because 9 times out of 10, honestly, no, scratch that, 10 times out of 10, there's somebody that has gone through it, there's somebody that's going through it, or there's somebody that has passed through it. So definitely talk to somebody. I know it doesn't sound like something you want to talk about, or you don't want sympathy from people, but it's not sympathy. It's people wanting to help you. So definitely talk about it. Like, start the conversation however you want. And this is another thing, I'm honestly like, check your friends, man. Check on your friends, please. Like, because you never know what people are going through.
Yeah.
I literally had a talk yesterday with somebody, and I didn't even know they were going through something. It's like, bro, just check on your friends. Make sure they're good. Make sure they're healthy. Make sure they're not eating McDonald's every day. Like, just little stuff. But if you really care about your friends, or if you call people your friends, just check on them. Talk to somebody. Check on them. Because at the end of the day, like, God is real. God is here with us. But we have to check on ourselves as well as humans. That's the least we can do, is check on people. So those are probably the 2 major things that I would say. And I think the last thing, to be honest with you, is just that you're not alone. You're really not. And even though it seems like God's not for you at that moment, he's always for you. That's probably the biggest thing I would say, is those 3 things for sure.
Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of the Dare to Love podcast. I hope it blessed you and challenged you. Make sure you visit the description below for all our helpful links. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any new content from us. And follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook so you can stay updated with everything we have going on. And we'll see you next week for an all-new episode of the Dare to Love podcast.